Hello, good evening, everyone. Anyone from the attendees, can you just write it in the chat box whether the voice is clear or not? Am I audible to everyone? Attendees, anyone can type it in the chat box? Okay, fine. So as I am audible and 5 minutes have been passed, so you all have your exam. So without wasting any further time, we'll be starting today's lecture. Okay, so today this is basically the last lecture that we are going through for these particular sessions, that is on the introduction in the artificial intelligence and machine learning. This initiative has been taken by the TechCube 3. We were earlier planned to have more classes, but as you have your exams going on, so for that reason, we have shortened this particular course. And for this particular lecture, on the last day, that is on today, we'll be talking about different concept that has not been talked during the lecture session. That is the fuzzy. In these 8 days lecture series, we along with Komulika Bhattacharya ma'am and myself, we have discussed about what is AI and what is ML. Then the application of AI that has been discussed in the second lecture. Then the supervised and unsupervised learning that has been discussed. That's the vital concept about machine learning. Whenever you are going to do any type of classification or clustering application, you must know what is supervised and what is unsupervised. Then the support vector machine has been introduced, and that has been applied in the sign language recognition problem. Then on the 5th day, artificial neural networks and how training and testing can be done using artificial neural network, that is ANN, that has been taught to you. Then another interesting application, that is e-learning of dance videos using the neural network, that has been discussed. On the last class, it was about the deep learning, that is on the 7th. On the 8th, we'll be discussing about a fuzzy inference system for car racing game. So we'll be talking about a virtual gaming application, that's a car racing game, and how that particular car racing game can be developed using fuzzy inference system. That is today's lecture topic. And for this, we need to first discuss about the what is the fuzzy. So first we'll be talking about what is fuzzy logic, and then we'll be talking about how to apply that fuzzy logic in this particular application area. So we'll be starting the screen share option. So I'll be starting the screen share, just a second. Yeah, so your screen must be visible to you. Yeah, okay. The fuzzy logic, this particular slide is visible to everyone. Anyone from the attendees, can anyone type it in the chat box whether you can check this particular slide, whether the slides are visible to you? Yeah, okay. So the slides are visible. So let's start. What is the fuzzy logic? Okay. So what is, if you just search the particular keyword fuzzy from the dictionary. So what does that mean? Fuzzy is something where there are some uncertainty lies, like fuzziness. We sometimes in the whenever we are talking in English, we sometimes use that particular term called the fuzziness. That fuzziness means that there must be something called uncertainty. So if we are going to model that uncertainty, then we use the fuzzy logic concept. Fuzzy logic is a mathematical language to express something. So that is by some mathematical concept how we can model the uncertainty. That is the fuzzy logic. Now there are two types of sets are there. One is the crypt set where there is no uncertainty, and another is the fuzzy sets where the uncertainty lies. So there are two different sets, crypt sets and fuzzy sets. So you might ask me that from where the uncertainty can come. Okay, so let us just imagine that today suppose is a cloudy day. So I can ask any one of you that what you think that whether there will be rain or not. One person can say, ma'am, there is high certainty of getting a rain today. Another person can say, no, there will be no rain. Or I say that it might rain, it might not rain. So if there is something of like may not be, can be. So these type of things, like there is some uncertainty in giving the reply, then that can be modeled using the fuzzy logic. That is, a particular question is suppose is that what's today's temperature in degree centigrade. So if I ask what's the current temperature, so the current temperature answer will be a definite answer. So if I can just Google it, you can search it in the Google, what's the current temperature, and you can find, suppose today's temperature is 28 degrees centigrade. Suppose currently where I am staying here, the current temperature is 28 degrees centigrade. Suppose it's 28 degrees centigrade. So the answer is definite. If you search in the Google, for you also the answer will be 28 degrees centigrade. Anyone can search that what's the current temperature of Kolkata and then find a definite answer. So if we can find a definite answer to a particular problem, then that particular logic belongs to the Cripps logic. That is, answer is a definite answer. But whenever we are asking something like, do you feel hot today? Something like, what do you feel? Whether there will be rain, what's the chances of getting rain today? So then the answers will be something vague. Different people can have different options. I can feel I today for me it's a mild weather day. You can say no, it's very hot day. Another person can say no, it's cool. It's quite a cold day. Everyone's feeling about today's temperature is different. But what current temperature, that is fixed. Answer is definite, right? But the feeling about temperature for different persons can be different. That is, whenever the answer is not a definite thing, everyone's answer can be different than the others. Then there is the fuzzy logic. We need to apply the fuzzy logic. That is, there is some vagueness or fuzziness in the answer. So that can be modeled using the fuzzy logic concept. So fuzzy logic is a way to represent variation or imprecision in logic. It's a way to make use of natural language in logic. That is how we are feeling today's temperature. That's we are expressing the natural language form. So that's the way also, and it's the approximate reasoning. It can be something saying that if it is sunny and warm today, I will drive fast. So what are the linguistic variables are here? So that is, we are representing this particular sentence in the form of if and then logic, right? That if something, then this. So that is, if sunny and warm, then I'll drive first. So that's the logic of if and then. So that is, whenever we have this type of logic, that can be modeled using fuzzy. What are the linguistic variables? That is, there are two concepts. One is, there are two things like antecedent and consequent. So antecedent is this if part and then consequent is the then part. So in the if, there are two linguistic variables. One is for the cloud cover, another for the temperature. The cloud cover can be overcast, partly cloudy or sunny. And what's an option today? That is if it's sunny. So that if sunny will be correct. That is, cloud cover can be of 3 types. And the temperature can be also of 4 types. That is freezing, cool, warm, and hot. So that is cloud cover can be of different types and temperature can be of different types. Each can have their corresponding fuzzy membership function. And based on the result, we can get the speed, that is the consequent part. So antecedent to consequent. So antecedent is the if part and consequent is the then part. And then the speed can be of slow and fast. So that is, this part will be either slow or fast. So that is, there are three linguistic variables are present. Based on the first two, that is based on cloud cover and temperature, will be deciding on the speed. And how we are doing it? Based on if and then concept. Okay. And this particular thing can be modeled using the fuzzy. The fuzzy linguistic variables are used to represent qualities spanning a particular spectrum. For example, let us take the temperature linguistic variable. That can be of four types: freezing, cool, warm, and hot. Now, the question can be, what is the temperature? Answer is, it is warm. Now, if the question is, how warm it is, then there lies the fuzziness. Everyone's answer can be different than the other. We can say that's very warm. Another person can say mildly warm. Another person say, no, it's not warm. That is, there lies the fuzziness. So there are one type of set, that is a crisp set, and another set, that is the fuzzy set. For the crisp set, the belongingness will be one for one particular variable will be either 0 or 1. It can be warm or it cannot be warm. So if it is warm, the belongingness will be 1. And if it is not warm, then the belongingness will be 0. So for crisp set, the belongingness can be either 0 or 1. But for the fuzzy set, the belongingness can be either 0 or 1 or any value between 0 and 1. So that is, it can lies from 0 to 1 with consideration in the 0 and 1 also. So the fuzzy set variables can lies between 0, 1 and taking consideration of the both the boundary values, that is 0 and 1. So that is the crisp set and the fuzzy set. Now, as we have already discussed about a particular term called the membership function. So the membership function value for the fuzzy, it can be between 0 and 1, already discussed. And how many component it can have, or for how many membership function it can have, based on how many linguistic variables are there. There are 4: freezing, cool, warm, and hot. So for freezing, there will be one particular membership curve. For cool, there will be another particular membership curve. For warm, there will be another particular membership curve. And for hot, there will be another particular membership curve. These two membership curves are called the triangular membership curve. And these two are the left shoulder and right shoulder membership curve for freezing and hot. Now, these membership functions can be of trapezoidal, Gaussian, Bell, different types of membership function. It can be based on the values. Now, here we have told that is these qualities will spanning a particular spectrum. Just check for the cool, it from 30 to 70. That's the spectrum is from 30 to 70. Okay, now a question might arise that how we are deciding this freezing membership function. So it is deciding based on the opinion taken from each one of us or taken from each one of the subjects. What is the subject? That is discussed in the last class. That is the participants. They are taking part in the experiment. So from the subject, if we ask the subject, what do you feel will be a freezing temperature? The participant can say, for me, it's the 10 degrees centigrade. Or it's in the Fahrenheit range. So it can be for participant is in the 10 degree Fahrenheit. For another participant, it can tell it's the 20 degree Fahrenheit. So it is different, taking into or combining based on different persons' opinions about one particular linguistic variable, fuzzy membership function can be drawn. So taking into consideration different persons' opinion, we have decided that is for pool 50, for the 50 degree Fahrenheit, it will have the peak, and where it has the peak at the one particular value. So the membership function value can have any value between 0 and 1, taking into consideration both the boundaries. So that is from 0 to 1. It's the different membership function. So we have discussed about so far what is the crypt set, where we are getting definite answer, what is the fuzzy set, where there is no definite answers are there, some vagueness are there. That's are discussed. Then we have discussed about what is called fuzzy logic, or how to represent the fuzzy logic. That's the if and then concept, and antecedent and consequent, that is also been discussed. Then the fuzzy linguistic variables have been discussed. Then we have talked about the membership function and how the membership function can be drawn. Now, suppose one person can say how cool is 36 degree Fahrenheit. So 36 degree Fahrenheit means this particular line can be, we can draw a line in a 36 degree Fahrenheit. So it's the 36. So here in the 36, we can draw a line. So I'm just assume it's a straight line. I'm trying to draw a straight line. So it's a straight line we have drawn. Now this particular straight line will cut the freezing membership function at one particular point. So this from here, we are going to get the membership belongingness of that particular over here. This will cut the cool over here. So we are going to get for the cool linguistic variable the belongingness of the 36 degree Fahrenheit. For warm, it is at the 0. So it will also have a 0 over here. And hot also we are going to get over here. So whenever it's a crypt set, we are going to have the answer in the form of 0 and 1. But for the fuzzy set, the answer will be in the something of value of 0.7 for the freezing membership. For cool, it will be around 0.3. For warm, it will be 0, and for hot, it will be 0. So that is for each of the membership function, the belongingness will also have a fuzzy value that we can find from this particular question. That is the how to get the fuzzy membership value or belongingness value of one particular thing. Okay, so that is the 36 degree Fahrenheit. Now, so these are the different inputs are there. That is two different inputs for this particular fuzzy logic, that is the temperature and the cloud cover. And the temperature can be of 4 different types, and the cloud cover can be of 3 different types. And for each of the case, we have one particular membership curve. Okay. Now the speed can be of 2, that is the slow and the fast. So this is the fuzzy concept we have discussed. Now there is a concept called probability that you have already known in the mathematics during your school days. In the mathematics, you have the term called probability. So there is a distinct difference between fuzzy and probability. So the difference between fuzzy and probability is analogical to the prediction versus forecasting. So whenever you have something in the fuzzy, it's not equal to the probability thing. Fuzzy and probability are the two different concepts. So having said that, these are the some higher concepts about fuzzy logic, and as we have a restricted time, so we are not going into the details of that. If you can search in internet, you can find that person meaning of each of the term. And as we have already discussed, that fuzzy membership function can be of different types of. So these are the different membership functions are there. So having said that, we'll be moving to the applications of this fuzzy logic in the car racing. So this particular paper is published in the IEEE International Conference. Here, this is also a collaborative research work between 3 different universities. And the title of the paper is a novel gesture-driven fuzzy interface system for car racing game that we are discussing now. So for this particular research work, these are the 4 different components that we will be discussing now. That is the introduction, fuzzy inference for steering, experimental results, and conclusion. So this particular research work belongs to the domain of human-computer interface, that is the HCI. The definition of HCI that can be taken from the Association for Computing Machinery defines as that it's a discipline concerned with the design, evolution, and implementation of interactive computing systems for human use and with the study of major phenomena surrounding them. The evolution of HCI, it begins with this particular command line inference, command line interface, and it goes to the next leap taken into direct manipulation of graphical objects like the mouse. So that is HCI is today HCI has applications from using your mobile phone as well. Whenever in the mobile phone you can give, today there are some high-end mobile phones where you can just zoom the photo by giving this type of finger movement in the photo. If you just give this type of finger movement, the photo becomes zoomed. So this is also an application of HCI, that is a human and computer interface. Suppose there is a robot, we are instructing the robot go straight. That's also application of HCI. What's the features of next in HCI? That is for if we use the next generation of HCI, that is human computer interface, we are going to have more user-friendly systems and more degrees of freedom can be achieved. The most natural form of communication, that is the gesture. How we humans communicate our emotions to other person without saying anything. How we can communicate? By the body language. Without saying anything, by just our body language, we can express our feelings to the other. That gesture. Gesture is the most natural form of communication. By using the gestural form, we can communicate with the computer. So that is also a particular application of HCI that we'll be discussing today. And with the gestures, today we are going to develop a virtual game where car racing, how a person can race the car, that can be based on the human's body. With the advent of sensors, tracking of complex human movement is possible. And for this particular application, we'll be discussing about the Microsoft Kinect sensor. For the last 2 classes, we have already seen that is how the Kinect sensor actually works and how the data can be from the Kinect sensor. So we are not going into the details of the Kinect sensor today. We'll be just have a overall look of the Microsoft Kinect sensor. So that is the Microsoft motion sensing device, that's the Kinect, and along with its corresponding software development kit, abbreviated as SDK, it serves as a great platform for gesture-driven application development that we have already checked in the last few classes. So, not going into the details of each of the Kinect sensor concept, we'll be just touch upon the Kinect and will be moved forward for this particular application today. So, how earlier we used to game? If we just go back 10 years from this time, we used to play games using the joystick, the pedals, and the steering wheels. Those were the means of, that is the dedicated input devices were there for gaming, by which we used to play computer games. It can be 10 years or 15 years down the line. So that is the previous thing. That is earlier how we used to play. But now, today, the personal computer-based gaming that has the interface like the keyboard and mouse input. In the keyboard, you have the up down arrows. By the up down arrow, you can easily raise the card, or the you can move the card in the left direction or the right direction. You can give the acceleration to the card by pressing the space key. That is, nowadays keyboard and mouse plays the input devices for the game application. So that is the evolve. The evolution is there in the HCI domain for the computer games. And the next, what could be the next generation gaming? How you can have the next generation gaming experience? You might see some of the ads that are placed in the television where the people are playing different types of virtual games by their body movement. By just playing with their body, people are moving the badminton racket or playing, suppose, a volleyball by just doing some body gesture. That is next generation gaming. It going to yeah, take into the concept of integrate gesture with the computer games. By moving our body, by doing some gestural commands. Earlier, the commands are given by the keyboard and mouse. Now the command can be given to the computer in the form of gesture. By the gestural commands, the games can be played. Different television ads are there for different companies. We are not naming this. So that is different gaming applications have been developed that take into consideration the gesture. One such application that we'll be talking today. Now the gestures that can be that the gestures that can be processed using different motion sensor devices. One type of motion sensor device is the Microsoft Kinect sensor. So using the Microsoft Kinect sensor, you can have the body gestures in the form of skeleton. And if we go into the further evolution, there is a further progress. It can be holographic computing that leads to the simulation of virtual reality. Different holographic computing are there also. So there are different ways of playing computer games, from the joystick to the gestural commands. How the gaming experience changes. Earlier, people used to stay at one particular place, and by just pressing some keys, they are going to play the computer game. Now, the playing the computer game, people can have the actual feeling of playing badminton. People can have the actual feeling of driving the cars. That can be done. How the people can have the virtual reality, that is, people can feel, that is, like playing or by moving their body, people can feel like they are actually in the car and they are actually driving the car. When you are giving your comments in the form of certain key pressing, you might not have that actual feeling of driving the car. But if you are moving your body in such a fashion, the way you used to drive the car, that we are going to see that how can be the gestures, and then you can find that gestures, those type of gestures are very exact common with the gestures people used to make while they are driving the real cars in the roads. When the people are driving the real cars, how the people are making their body gestures, not only the hands but the legs also, for giving the acceleration and brake. How the people used to move their hand and leg, that actual feeling can be given to the people by processing the gestures. So we can give them a virtual experience of racing the car. That is today's particular application. Next, we'll be talking about the objectives and features of the proposed model. For the objectives, we are going to do our driving control algorithm using gestures applied to racing games. That is the objective. That is, our aim is to give a virtual experience to the participants who are playing the racing So the objective is the control the driving of a car as if the user is holding an imaginary steering wheel. So you have been told to imagine that you have a steering wheel in your hand, and you have been told to do the exact gestures that you would have been done in the if you have been given a real car. So you are going to have the actual virtual experience of driving a real car. So that's the objective. That is controlling of the car by the imaginary steering wheel. What will be the input over here? That is the steering angle, that is the theta, and the steering diameter, that is the d. Those are the two inputs that will be have for this particular application. And here we are going to use the Mamdani type 1 fuzzy inference system to process the data. So in the fuzzy logic, it can be of two types, type 1 and type 2. For this first, that is the preliminary stage, just understand if the uncertainty can be modeled with one particular membership curve, that is the type 1. And if the uncertainty for this uncertainty we can have, if uncertainty cannot be modeled with that, uncertainty is much more higher, then we need to go for the type 2 fuzzy logic, where we have a secondary membership function. That is type 1 and type 2. For this preliminary, just understand we are going to implement type 1 Mamdani fuzzy inference system to process the data. And what will be the output? Output will be the duration of virtual key pressed event. That is what the key press. This particular racing game has been designed by playing with the key pressing. That is this particular game that we'll be talking about later on. That is has been designed in such a fashion that have the game has been designed, that is it will be played using the free pacing, but we are making that to the virtual reality. So that is we are doing some body gestures. So each of the body gestures, from that we are going to take the input in the form of steering angle and steering diameter. So that will be converted into the key pressed event, that is whether the left key or right key has been pressed and how much duration. So why the duration is needed? If you actually played the car racing game, if you played for a longer duration of the left key, so that means that you want to move your car or you need to rotate your car much more towards the left direction. If you are pressing the right key for more amount of time, longer duration, so that means you want to rotate the car towards the left direction to a much more degree. So how much rotation you need to give? That is designed by the duration. That is how much rotation will be given to the car. And as already discussed here, the gestures of not only the hands but also the legs will be considered. That is acceleration and brake are controlled by the feet. So this is the concept. Now the kinect sensor, very brief we are be talking about. So you are already, I think you are already familiar with that. Kinect sensor has the IR emitter, and based on the IR emitter, IR receiver are also there. Time of flight concept is there. Based on that, person's depth can be measured. The person X and Y coordinate can be measured using the RGB camera. If we try to implement the voice gesture, it has a multi-array microphone array, and the kinect sensor can tilt itself to plus minus 27 degree such that it can get a better view of the human subject. So these are the different components of the kinect sensor. And using this kinect Xbox 360, we can get the 20 body joint coordinates. So the 20 body joint coordinates are from, these are the 20 body joint coordinates from each of the frames. And each of the 20 body joint coordinates will have X, Y, and Z coordinates. So how the data is going to have? The data you are going to have in this particular format. That is, this is for the frame 1. So you can just have, there are 20 rows are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. For 20 body joints, that is 20, each of the frame 20 body joint data has been captured, and for each of the 20 body joint, 3-dimensional data is taken into consideration. So that is the x, y, and z. This is the timestamp value. That is, this value is a timestamp. So just check, that is the fourth column is fixed for one particular frame. So one particular frame has been taken at one particular time. So that is the timestamp value is fixed for one particular frame. When that is, it has moved to the next frame, then you can just check that timestamp value is now changed and the value is increased. So it is 1535499. It is 1535536. It is increased. So based on the sampling rate, the value will be, timestamp value will be increased. The first column, that is this particular column, will be the x coordinate value. Second column will be the y coordinate value, and z column will be the the third column will be the z coordinate values. So these are the different coordinate values. Okay, so just I'm just zooming in. It might be, someone might not be able to view it clearly. Okay, so it's zoomed quite a lot. So that is the first is for the 20 body coordinate value for one particular frame. Next, the 20 body coordinate value, the second frame has been taken, and the first, second, and third are the x, y, and z coordinate values for these of the 20 body joint. So this is there. So after that, we are into the block diagram of the proposed driving control system. So what is that? First, the people are going to make some driving gestures. So those driving gestures will be processed by the KINET sensor, and the output will be in the form of the skeleton data. From the driving gestures, KINET are going to process the driving gesture, and skeleton data is obtained. From the skeleton data, data processing module will going to give the theta and d, that is already discussed. Theta is the steering angle and steering diameter is the d that we are going to have. From that, you are going to have the fuzzy inference system. It's a type 1. From that, you are going to have two things, t and theta. For that, you are going to have the key press events for steering, and the key press events for driving, that is the steering and the driving, that is whether it's the rotation of the car or the speed of the car. Both you need to calculate at the same time. That is, if you want to rotate the car, or if or at the same time you want to give the acceleration, or you want to give the brake to the car. Both has been processed. That is the key press events for steering, that is the rotation of the car, and the for driving, that's the acceleration or brake. That is going to give in the format of the keyboard interrupt signals to control the game. So as the game is designed for actually the, when the persons have, those who have developed the game, they have developed the game taking into consideration that people will be playing the game using the keyboard. Now, if as we have trying to do or trying to give the comments in the form of gestures, so the gestures is now, that is the driving gestures are basically mapped with the keyboard interrupt signal, and by that game will be controlled. So that is one particular schematic view of the 3D structure of the human subject. And what are the two inputs? The input are the angle of the steering, that is the theta. So, and the theta is measured is the acute angle between the transverse plane and the straight line joining left and right hand joints. So that is the left hand joint, this is the right hand joint. So that is, you from the left and right hand joint, you can have a plane, and the transverse of the plane, you are going to have the theta value. And the steering diameter, that is the d, that is the distance between two palm positions. So that is distance between these two palm positions, that will be your steering diameter. So if your steering diameter is this, so it's a smaller diameter. If it is this, so it's a mid type of diameter. If it is this, so that is a much more higher steering diameter. That is the D input. So unlike the steering wheel, steering diameter may vary with user's hand position. That we will discuss. So from low, mid to high, that can be different steering diameter can be. The common trait is to rotate the wheel in a greater angle theta for a required turn when d decreases. If the d value is decreased, that is this value is decreased, so people will be rotate to a much more angle theta. So these sensitivity need to be considered. That is how the people or how the human going to rotate the wheel. So if for people they are imagining the steering wheel of this length, and people are imagining the steering wheel of this length, so that is a different diameter steering wheel they are considering. So they have the common traits of rotating the wheel with a greater angle of theta if the diameter becomes much more smaller. So that sensitivity of the controller output should be accordingly tuned. Now what's the output? Output is the car rotates as long as the corresponding key is kept pressed. So if that is rotation is that is much more rotation will be there. If it is doing this type of gesture for much more duration, the pressing of a key generates a key press event consisting of key down and key up events. That is, in the keyboard you have a key down and key up that can be done. These events can be virtually simulated using keyboard interrupt calls. The duration between key down and key up, that is a key press duration T, governs the amount of rotation. Your video is on, Prem Kumar. Your video is on. I think you have wrongly, yeah. The duration between the key down and key up, that is the key press duration T. By that you can calculate the amount of rotation. And the duration T is the direct output of FIS calibrated logarithm response. So that is this T. Okay, that is the duration. Okay, now fuzzy rule is defined in the form of if and then concept. So if D is low and theta is low, then T is very low. So there are basically 6 different fuzzy rules that form the fuzzy. So that has been designed. And for the 6th rule, I am not reading out all the rules. You can find, you can just search by the paper name, and in the internet you can find this particular paper in the IEEE Explorer site where all of the rules are given in the paper. So I'm not reading out all the rules. I'm just reading out the 6th rule. 6th rule says that if D is high and theta is high, then T is high. So this is the fuzzy rule base. Now we have to define the fuzzy membership function. So fuzzy membership functions have been defined for that input and output variables. There are 2 input variables, D and theta, and output is one particular, that is the T. So that is for D. It can be of 2 linguistic variable can be there, low and high. For this is for the theta, that is it can have 3 linguistic variables. That as we have designed the fuzzy rule base, you can have much more linguistic variable. If we have much more linguistic variable, then this fuzzy rule base is going to be changed. Then you can have low, mid, and high. We have designed in such a fashion that it's going to have 3 linguistic variables. And for the T, we have 4 linguistic variables, that is very low, low, mid, and high. That's in the form of log. So here it is tell to you that logarithmically it will be calculated. Now we are coming to the acceleration and brake. Just check over here that we have already discussed for the driving. That is, we have this particular variable need to be calculated. So by the sigma, we are going to calculate people used to drive the rail car. So that driver sits and puts his or her the signal accelerator. That is, if someone moves their right foot in the forward direction, so that means it's the acceleration. And if the reverse gesture, that is, some person is moving their left foot in front direction, so that means it's a. So acceleration is brake has been defined. Foot at normal position means the uniform speed. That is, if the car is racing speed of 30 km/h, so that particular speed speed the car will going to make. And this particular sigma is calculated by the relative foot position, that is based on that acceleration and brake is calculated. Okay, now we are coming to the experimental setup. For this, we have designed this particular experimental setup for the Final Drive Fury that has been designed by the Wild Tangent game. So for this particular game, that is Final Drive Fury, we have designed this particular work. We are using the Kinet 360 sensor used to track the player skeleton, and C++ with software development kit, that is the SDK or the version of 1.8 that has been taken into consideration. The Kinet is placed at a distance of 1.5 to 2.1 meters from the player and a height of 0.4 to 0.8 meters. The system is tested on 20 subjects as players, all within the age group of 20 to 30 years. Here, all the subjects are basically the Jadavpur University research students, from where we have taken the data. So, this is the straight drive gesture. You can just understand from here. This is the left turn gesture. So, please making the left turn, and this is the right turn gesture. So, if the person is making the straight drive gesture, the car drive position will be straight. If the people is moving this left turn gesture, car will be turned to the left. If people are making the right turn gesture, car will be turned to the right. And these are the game snapshots for that particular game that has been already told, that the Final Drive Fury for the frame numbers 128, 256 and 314. So before going forward, I will be MATLAB code as it's going to take some time to run the code. Why we are running the code will be coming later on. So just this is the gestures for the different persons based on for the same person for different gestures depicting the car rotation. Now we are just check the player in driving position with the acceleration activated with right foot. Just check for each of the case, the right foot is much more forward to the left. That is, for each of the gesture, car will be given an acceleration with a constant acceleration value. So as all the three cases, the right foot is in the forward position to the left foot. So acceleration will be there. If the left foot would have been forward to the right foot, so then brake would have been given. So these are the different persons body gesture and corresponding car movements. So just have the actual view of the skeleton. So we are running this particular code. This is the particular code and how the code is run, that has been discussed in the last class. For this particular code, we are getting the Kinet skeleton and the data, what the data has been given over here, that is the data temp.txt, that is this particular temp.txt that is already discussed to you, how the data is there. And now just look at the different skeletons, how actually skeleton is generated. So this is the drive straight. Okay. This is this, if we just mapped it with this particular presentation, so this, if you just mapped it, it will be the turn left, right? This is also turn left, but much more rotation, right? As the body is now much more towards the right. That people is trying to move the steering wheel, that is the imaginary steering wheel, to the much more left direction. That is the left turn. This is the right turn gesture. This is the again drive straight. This is the left turn, and just you can just check over here is brake is there, as the left foot is much more forward to the right foot. So for this particular gesture, left turn with brake will be the actual output. Here it's the right turn with the brake. Okay. For this particular skeleton, it is the left turn with acceleration.
And speed shading is not visible.
Okay. Yeah, now it's visible. visible to everyone? So this is the left turn with the acceleration, as the right foot is much more forward. So that is the left turn with the acceleration, that will be the output. For this, it will be the right turn with acceleration, as the particular right foot is much more forward. Okay, so screen sharing is visible to you. This is for the drive straight with acceleration gesture. So these are the different skeleton view of the particular game that is designed. So here the theta and d is discussed. That is for the drive state, theta value is very small. You can just check for the left turn and the right turn, theta value is much more higher than this particular theta value, and the d is the distance between two palm position. Now we are coming to the result section. In the result, for a particular d and variation, theta is noted. That is, this particular is the 3D representation of the theta and d. And from the theta and d, how the logarithmically calculated t can that is, this result is there if you do the defuzzification. So how the fuzzy system has been designed? So in the, you have to first design the fuzzify, then you have to design the rule base, then you have to defuzzify it. So that is the 3D representation where the inputs are theta and d and output will be the t. Okay. Now these are the sample results. That is, if this is the theta value, if this is the d value, what will be the sigma and t value, right? For NR means not relevant. Why it's not relevant? As it's the turn right and turn left and go straight as that. That is, sigma is for the feet position, right? Sigma is to calculate the acceleration and brake. Whenever people are going to give acceleration and brake, then you need this sigma particular thing. So for these three cases, that is the first two, that is for the rotation of the car, it's a not relevant scenario. And for the acceleration and brake, it has a certain value. Opposite scenario happens for the T. T is for the steer, deciding on the steering angle. So for the first three cases, that is for the steering wheel position, it has some three different values. For the next two cases, that is the speed of the car, it has the not relevant values. Now the left and right has been decided based on the result taken from here, and the T is calculated, and then up and down arrow. Okay, so that is there. Now this is the fuzzy inference system versus the proportional map, that shows how our particular application is much more best fit to the linear surface significantly. That is, our particular research work is much more better if we are going for the fifth set. Now this is the pulse with modulation result for the key press pulse. That is how the people are giving the inputs based on their gestures and how much time it takes to actually rotate the car in the computer screen. So the delay is of 10 milliseconds. So it's a very much negligible time. So that is, our particular research work has very little time to rotate the car. So people in that 10 millisecond time, the players who are playing based on, or they are giving the gesture comment, they might not feel that the car is lagging. So they can have the actual scenario of playing the real car. That is there. That is a 10 millisecond delay will be there. Now we are just going to the conclusion part. So it's a robust gesture control driving system that mimics the normal driving phenomena in automobiles. Is the most natural way, as the most naturally people, how the people are driving the cars, by moving their hands and moving their feet. So if the people can imagine they have a virtual wheel in their hand, by just doing the virtuals or the movement of the hands, by imagining they have a virtual wheel, so the most naturally people can play the racing game. Hidden Markov model can also be used for this particular gesture control mechanism. In the future, work will be, or you can do, we can do this particular research work to extend the degrees of freedom such that this particular application we have designed for the car racing game, you can design this particular game for aircraft simulator that needs much more degrees of freedom that you can do, where in today the aircraft simulator has been done using the imaginary control stick. You can develop the gestural command based aircraft simulator where body gesture can be used to give the commands to the simulator. This particular game not only useful for giving you a virtual experience of playing game. By this, you can have or you can give commands to the robot car as well. By the robot car, the servo motor can be controlled by the body gestures. So this particular gesture application is not applicable for the gaming. It has a potential for gaming, but as well as by that you can have the robot car navigation as well. So these are the different references. You can go through references to get much more better idea. So this is all about the particular research work. So this is the paper, that is a novel gesture-driven fuzzy interface system for car racing game. You can just go through this particular paper. It is available in the IEEE Explorer. This paper was published in 2015 in the IEEE International Conference on Fuzzy Systems, Fuzz IEEE. You can go through that. So with that, we are ending this particular session on this introduction to AI and ML initiated by the TechCube 3. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. You can type it in the chat box, or anyone can raise their hand so we can unmute them and we can ask, or you can ask the question. So if you have any doubt, you can just ask. Is there any doubt with anyone? Or you can raise your hand. We can unmute you. Okay, so I think there is no doubt. So there is a questionnaire that is, I'm just going to give the link. That is a Google form. Just take the link. So this is the link you can get from the chat box. This is the link. There are 5 questions up there, each of with 2 marks. So total is 10 marks. And after that, last you have a feedback, so where you can give the feedback. So just go there and give the feedback. You have to, each of the question, that is 5 questions are compulsory. You have to give answer to each of the 5. Okay, so it's very important to get the certificate. Go there and give this particular questionnaire from the Google form, and then last you have got the feedback. So I hope you don't have any doubt, as I'm not getting any queries. So and to form this particular form, currently its time is 8:05. You have been given 20 minutes. So at exact 8:25, I'll be stopping the Google form. 20 minutes time is enough to give the answer. So I hope you have got the link, you have copied the link or taken the screenshot. So thank you everyone for joining this particular session on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So we can close the session.